What is going on, all you lovely people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael Hora, and this is a lovely penguin. Welcome back, guys. Hopefully you guys just watched me reacting to Lisa's LaLisa. That sounds really silly when you say it really quickly. But we are going to be doing the set breakdown of that video right now. So, yeah, let's just dive right in. All right, guys. So, very first and foremost, the first few shots of this kind of jump back and forth between a couple of different hallways. And this one, it looks a little bit more like an alleyway. She's got the tougher looking clothes on, likes to look more punk rock-ish, if you would. Kind of showing off the different qualities of her as an individual. And so we got the kind of dirtier alleyway looking kind of hall that they got set up here. And I'll say this, man. The more and more that I watch these K-pop music videos and stuff, the more I realize just how much they actually put into these videos. It's absolutely bonkers. I mean, literally, it's like they don't even use this hall for that much. But, I mean, it's more or less a relatively-ish simple kind of a thing. But, like, there's certain parts of this that are a little bit more difficult. So, like, the signage that you have going up here. Yeah, you basically are just making a little box that they can put a light in with a more translucent piece, usually like some sort of plastic. They probably painted this on. If not, it's a sticker. And then also you got like these pieces here as well, the ones that are a little bit more curved. Also another piece of plastic that probably has a sticker of those letters on there. But like, yeah, these sets are just so in depth. And yeah, it's just as simple as just making a couple of walls going down the way, adding on pillars and stuff to give it a little bit more depth. It's actually cool. If you look at this image right here on the left side here, yeah, I don't know, can you see my cursor? No, if you look at the left side though, you can actually kind of see an image of one of the other sets. It's that kind of beach house looking thing over there, which is really cool, you know. And they just put so much into these things, but this isn't what we're gonna get too stuck on. I want to get a little bit more in on some of the other sets that they have going on. Now, something like this is quite a difficult build. I wouldn't be surprised if they went and had this made out of metal, this door that they have going on here. In the next shot, you'll see that there's a big L on there for Lisa, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had this made out of metal already, just because it's really thin in certain areas. Personally, if I was going to be the one making this, I would most likely use MDF boards. They're a little bit thicker, really compressed material, so it's pretty strong, and you can cut it and sand it down to make it look nice and smooth and crisp. Using like a jigsaw, you carve out all the different pieces that they're using here, and yeah, it lets you really have a lot of freedom in how you carve up the board. However, with the pieces being that thin, I would really be afraid of it breaking. You know, so that's why I'm more inclined to believe that they actually had somebody make this out of metal. But there also is the chance that it could be MDF board or another kind of wood, like a strong compressed wood as well, that they painted to make it look like metal. For the rest of the stuff, it's simple flat works. It's just wedges, if you would, right? Where it's like, if this would be what you'd be looking at from the top view. And then, yeah, you just attach two pieces of wood together. Those columns that are there, you can see them right here. Pretty simple. Put a couple sandbags in the back. Have a couple of boards coming out just so that it'll hold it down. And then, yeah, you're just going to build a nice archway here as well to make this nice, really awesome door. I want to show you guys real quick. They, like I said, they got this beautiful L in the door as well. Let's see if they... Now it gets more blurry as we go. But yeah, just with how much... Oh, it's actually one piece. Interesting. I'm sorry, I got confused on the last shot. There's that line right there. I thought that went all the way down through, which so it would be kind of like a doorway that would swing open. But I guess it's just one full piece. Interesting. Actually, too, they could have also had some sort of a like an opaque kind of plastic behind there as well that could also be supporting the wood if it was some sort of MDF board as well, because also that will kind of stop the light from just shining straight through, and that kind of gives it that like cloudy pinkish look to it as well. But yeah, this is definitely one of the pieces on here that I'm like, I don't fully know how they did it. I really can only speculate so much, you know what I mean? But still, it's definitely a notable part of the video, that's for sure. Now, the big LaLisa room. The big letters are more or less easy to construct. However, you can tell some of them are a little bit longer than others. So like the L and the A at either end, they're really long. And then the A and the S are just like a medium length. And then the middle L and the middle I are both pretty short. So it kind of gives that kind of bow shape to it. But yeah, it's simple build. It looks like it's just wood put together with then probably, like I was saying before, another kind of plasticky type of material that they can put like a filter over, a diffuser, excuse me, like some sort of diffuser over as well to allow just the amount of lights to get in. And then also they'd have lights inside of those that are illuminating the whole things, and they have control over it. So the light department would definitely be more on top of that, as well as they have a really big screen in the back. I want to say an LED screen. That's outside of my realm. I think that's what they would use. I don't play with that kind of technology, but it adds that depth into the video as well, which is really, really nice. There's certain points where the video makes it look like the letters go really far back as well, and it just adds to the depth of the room. Then on top of it too, you got the shiny floors, you got the shining on the ceiling, probably Marlite as well, or even just like a polyurethane over a some colored painted boards, you know, black and white boards, as you can see, because it's like a stripe color. But yeah, it's just like this room is just like really, really nice. I also really like that it's like kind of just like the K-pop room, if you would, because it's really big, it's over the top, it's bright, it's loud. You know, she even says in the song that she's the loudest in the room, you know. So definitely makes for a really cool thing. Plus, on top of the fact that she's wearing black while everybody else is wearing white, when the room lights up white, it really just accentuates that she's there, and she is Lisa. She's the one that we are watching the video for. So here is another one of the hallways that I was talking about. They have, strangely enough, they have women standing in the windows for this one. I actually didn't notice that while I was watching the video, but yeah, those are just nice big panels of glass that you put in there. More or less actually relatively easy to install into a set like this. But you can see like they have the trusses going over the top as well. They're inside the studio as well. And then they have that big screen behind the set also. You know, so that kind of adds that pop. It really punches through with the nice bright pink color. But like, yeah, these sets, they're just so massive. They're so big. Like, it's the more I watch it, the more I'm like, man, I have not worked on something to this scale before. So I would love to actually get onto a shoot like this, because it's just actually incredible, the stuff that they do. And we're not even at like the craziest part of the video yet. We still got like a bunch more to go. I will say this is a really simple gag that they have going on here. It's like a really big white spandex screen, and then you just have a bunch of people behind it putting their hands up to it. So a lot of their probably backup dancers are the people putting their hands through, but it really adds a really cool effect. I just wanted to touch on it briefly. I'm sure you guys probably figured that one out on your own, but still, it's just a cool shot, to be honest. I will say it's interesting to see her on the motorcycle for the video, mainly because I have no idea if she has a motorcycle license or not. I don't know if she actually rides motorcycles. My guess is probably not, but for this one, they would just simply hook up the motorcycle to like the back of a truck, and they would have a rig that would make sure that it's held upright, so it's not going to fall down. So that's why you can kind of see the background moving in the back, and they can also have that really close-up shot on her as well. She's looking at the camera rather than forward like you would if you're actually riding a motorcycle. But then it actually pans over to a further shot of her riding on the motorcycle, which is really safe to say probably not actually her on the bike. That's also why the face mask is kind of darked out and you can't actually see her. That's a basic Hollywood trick for the most part. I think most people know about that one already. Now, this shot here is so epic because it might be hard to tell, but this just goes to show how massive the sets that they built are. Massive, absolutely massive. And this, I believe, is her debut song off of her album that she just released. So this is like the big debut, which I heard that in K-pop they really go over the top with the budget. So you can actually see on the right side here, that is that big door that we were talking about where I wasn't sure exactly how they made it. And then this is the other hallway that she starts off the music video in, that's a little bit more dingy and dirty looking as well. But they kind of come out here and then they're out in like a plaza, if you would. But it's crazy because I'm pretty sure this is all inside of a studio. Just absolutely massive. Plus, they put a really cool design on the floor here, making a big pyramid out of a bunch of different triangles here. Looks like it's just, you know, black panels with a glossy finish on them. But still, you know, you got to make sure that you space them out correctly. They definitely have to make sure they have wedges and stuff in order to make sure that they're staying particularly straight, because it's going to look crazy if they're off-centered and whatnot. So it's like those little things on the job that you have to really pay attention to, because they'll become glaringly obvious if like this one is a little bit too close here. It's going to be really noticeable and people with OCD will lose their minds. Now, this shot in particular is another really cool one. She comes busting into the room with all the police there. She's like the FBI agent or secret agent or whatever kind of secret organization Korea has, like the CIA for the US. And like, I will say I'm not 100% sure what part of the set they're on. I think this is a brand new spot that we have not seen yet. But they add in these really cool speaker looking things, which is another thing that like might seem kind of difficult to make, but it's really not that difficult. Is you just kind of make a box, but rather than having just vertical walls, you just tip them in a little bit. More or less relatively easy. And then it looks like they use vinyl stickering on it in order to make them kind of look like they're like a dark marble, like stone, you know? But yeah, I mean, A+, they look great. They match the floor well. And then yeah, the back walls and stuff, they actually did that same kind of painting technique I think we talked about in one of the other videos, where you just kind of take a rolling brush, like a paint roller. You just don't get it too wet with paint. You just kind of run it lightly up and down and stuff, and it gives you this kind of interesting texture to the walls. It makes them look a little bit more worn. So you'd usually start with a dark color and you fully paint it dark, and then go a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, until you get what you get right here. And then even in a few spots, I'm sure it looks like they even went with the dark colors over it one more time, very, very lightly. And it really gives it a nice texture look to it. Like textured but weathered too. It's cool how that works. So this is the room that it was. I was going to say, I was like, I feel like it's attached to something. But actually, if you were taking that screenshot of them as the police and you just took the camera and turned to the left, this is the big room where they have the pole dancing that's going on here. Another thing, poles are actually not that hard to set up. You just want to make sure that you securely fasten it to the ceiling as well as the floor, or else you're going to get to be in one of those really funny blooper videos or America's Home videos or fail videos on the internet where you spin around the pole and then it lets go and you fall with the pole down to the floor. But yeah, you really just want to make sure it's really anchored in there. There actually comes with 2 different pieces that anchor itself into the into the ceiling as well as the floor, and then you attach into the poles as well. And then actually a fun little fact too that I learned talking to somebody who does pole dance is that actually I had no idea. I'm 30 years old. I literally found this out, I think when I was 29, so it wasn't too long ago. But the poles spin. They have like ball bearings in them or something at like the top or bottom that allow it to kind of just spin around. So that's why they don't actually like burn themselves when they're twirling around the pole as well. Or I will say it's not every pole does that, but like a lot of them do. And you can actually see there's certain spots where there's like joints on the poles where that's where it spins. So interesting little fact. That has nothing to do with the art department. It's just a fact that I learned at one point. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm seeing this correctly, but it looks like the top of her pole just has a chain coming off the top, or like a carabiner that's attached to some rope that's up to the top, probably up to the rafters, in order to secure it, because it's not actually into the ceiling, so there's nothing to secure it on top, which is interesting. That's another way to do it. Plus, those big rings on the ceiling, man, those are actually very, very difficult to build. Anytime you're going to take like wood or something along that lines and have to bend it in order to make it into a sphere, it takes a lot of skill. It's a skill that I am not very good with myself. I typically will try to do everything I can in order to not have to build anything on a curve like that. But yeah, the fact that they had to make multiple rings to a circle there, and then you can see they have like the plastic pieces going across to add to the lighting. That's a very, very tough thing to build. To be honest with you, it is not an easy thing in the slightest. I mean, you can get wood that's a little bit more bendy, but even still, like if you push it a little too far, the wood cracks and it ruins it. And you gotta get another piece and like all this stuff. It actually helps if you wet the wood a little bit too, to kind of give it a little bit more bend to it, a little bit more strength in the fact that it won't break as easily. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but then as the wood dries, then it could also potentially crack. So that is a really, really tough build. So props to this art team. They are nuts. Don't really have anything to say about this shot, but we love shooting on location. This is really dope. I felt bad when I was watching the behind the scenes video that she was saying like she has to wear all leather for this shot and it's like a really hot day out. Definitely not a fun thing to be a talent for. But I mean, hey, all of her dancers are having to wear black and stuff too, so I'm sure it wasn't exactly a fun day for all of them. But regardless, it really made for a beautiful shot, so worth it? You let me know. This set is so nice. It's so well done. It looks so good. I want to say this house has like a kind of like almost like that kind of Greek, I think, feel. I will say I'm not great with architecture, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. But it's definitely got that kind of white, like I think it's sandstone houses or possibly just stone houses. I'm not exactly sure what the normal material would be for making this kind of stuff. But however, I mean, if they're building it on set, most likely it's made out of wood. And a really easy way to get that texture for the house is that once you paint it, you do another coat and you just kind of dab it with the paint so that it kind of makes globs all over the place. Plus, as you dab it, it'll pull it so it looks a little bit more spiky. It looks a little more bumpy and rough looking. Gives it that kind of sand texture to it. On the stairs themselves, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually took some like joint compound or something along that lines as well and did the same thing with that and then paint it with the different colors that they used in order to paint it and decorate it and make it look a little bit more like a worn down sandstone staircase as well, you know. But on top of it, it's like the colors are all pastel colors. They look really nice. The blue really pops off the white, as well as accenting off of the background that they have, the backdrop that they put up. It looks just super good. And then on top of it too, it's funny. They put down a lot of white sand as well. And then all these potted plants, these are all coming from rental places as well. And then actually, if you look in the back here, you can kind of see some more plants. Literally, it's just a bunch of plants lined up. If you were to look at it by itself, it would just look like its own little island, little patch of plants just all seated together so that it looks like she's actually out somewhere. She's out at an island or out at wherever this location would be, out in Greece or wherever. I don't actually know exactly what shot they're going for here, but it's to make it look like they're not in a studio. But it's cool too. Like there's the little things that make me believe that it's wood. So like you can actually see right here, kind of going along the edge here, that's actually a seam. It's pretty well covered, but it's slightly showing. Most people wouldn't really notice that kind of stuff, but you would normally build out like that rectangular piece, and then they had to specially build a sloped piece, if you would, that's also probably at like a 90-degree angle as well. And yeah, it's all painted to look right. I would be not shocked at all if they actually bought real tiles in order to go up here. You can actually get tiles for not too expensive. They didn't use too many either, so it's not really going to be a big break the budget type of a thing. But this spot is so nice. It's so beautiful. And this was the spot that I was talking about. They actually had as a poster in one of the other hallways. You know, it looked like a big postcard or something. I will say, as I'm looking at these doors, I'm like half wondering what kind of paint did they use for this. It almost looks like chalk, to be honest with you, too. Or another little trick that you can do as well is to make things look a little bit more worn, you can actually paint all the pieces. It looks like they probably painted the boards individually before putting them on to the slats that are holding them together. So you can actually paint the wood, and then you can just take a piece of sandpaper and just rub on it, and it'll make it look kind of worn down. That's why, like, you see, like, on this blue piece right here, you can see it's kind of worn down on the left because it pushed down a little bit hard with the sandpaper. And also here on the pink board here. So I think that's most likely what they ended up doing. But yeah, it's nice when you get a little bit of a closer up shot of the stairs. You can kind of see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. Particularly right behind her back here. You can kind of see the shadows because there's so much texture into the stairs. That's why I believe that they probably would use some sort of compound on there to just kind of splot it on to give it that sort of texture to it as well. This has got to be one of my favorite parts of the whole entire music video. It's where the music drops into, I guess, the kind of Thai music, and she gets to wear a little bit more of like the Thai princess type wear, but also it brings us to this set, which it's super well done. It's really nicely put together. It's something that it's a lot more decorating than it is building. For the most part, just building the structures that you're seeing here, like all the pillars and stuff, they have this kind of throne area. It's not that far off from other things that we've seen built or anything like that. However, it's the intricate designs that go into the top piece here, as well as on the pillars themselves. I want to say they're painted on. I'm going to see if they have a better, closer look at it. So it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like that's actually carved into the wood. For a big budget music video like this, I wouldn't be surprised if they could go to some sort of company that has a 3D carving machine that you would upload an image into a computer. It would take into consideration the wood, and then it would be able to carve the wood for you. I mean, to do this by hand, this would take an incredibly long time. So I would imagine they probably would do something along that lines of going to a computer that would carve for you. But it really adds a whole different level to this music video that's just absolutely crazy. And then on top of it, look at this throne. Look at this throne that they made. Now, again, if this was something that I was working on, this piece itself would be something that would go to an outside fabricator. I don't know. I mean, you might be able to find something like this at a prop house. I feel like this one is a little bit bigger and more intricate than you would normally see at like a prop house. So I would guess, also, again, knowing how much money they're willing to put down on these videos, I would not be surprised to hear that they just went out and bought this. But the design is so intricate, and all those pieces layered on each other just make for this wild, crazy throne. Now, I'm wondering if there is a location where you could actually buy pieces like this top piece here individually, and then like be able to attach them to a round board on the back there. But yeah, this thing would be really tough to build. This thing is just absolutely crazy. Now, the walls that you're seeing in here too are also pretty wild as well. It looks like they just built a frame, and then they also kind of laid out boards across them, as well as kind of cutting in with like a router different slots to make it look like those are brick pieces rather than just a big piece of wood going across the back. And then we're back to the big LaLisa room with the big screen monitor thing in the background. Dude, this whole music video was so beautiful. I will say it's hard to see exactly what's going on in certain spots because it does jump cut quite a bit, but it's such a cool music video. They have so many cool music sets. They have so many different sets that they made for this thing. They definitely went above and beyond anything that they would have to do, anything that I would expect them to do. But yeah, this is her debut song, so I believe it's her debut song. I apologize if it's not. I think she said it at one point, so I apologize if I misread the subtitles. But yeah, this is awesome. This is a great song. I think she nailed it. Really knocked it out of the park. And yeah, it's a really solid set work. So bravo to the art department for making this set look the way it is. Also the lighting department as well. They really crushed it too. I mean, the whole tech side of this thing is just so much bigger than anything I've had to deal with. So bravo. And guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said in the last one, make sure you go and check out all the social medias we got down in the descriptions down below. We also have a Discord. We also have a Twitch. So if you guys would go ahead, Twitch is up at the top. Feel free to join us. We stream all the time. And I believe I'm going to try to work on possibly having a like once a week YouTube stream, but that's still in the makings. All right. So guys, I love you. Stay aggressively positive. Have a great weekend. And we will catch you on the next one. Love you. Bye.